Hey, good evening, everybody. I'm here to do another podcast rambling. Adam's rambling podcast, episode 12. That's words are hard, and sometimes they don't come out when we speak. Just wearing my Michael Myers shirt here. Changed into it earlier. Yeah, I'm just kind of tired. I was out in the soccer field in the wonderful hot weather mixed with smoky weather from the wildfire stuff, so I'm all sniffy, feel like crap. But anyway, that will not deter me, though. Will not deter me from continuing on and speaking in a weird accent that changes in a minute. So that was weird. I sometimes gotta shade this beard off. I'm just so lazy, I tell you. Anyway, so that was a minute of crap. Anyway, so welcome to those who have never been here before. I did not get around to watching Candyman 3. I considered maybe doing a pitch, for the first follow-up to Candyman. And then maybe going back and doing the ranking video when I actually have the energy to watch Candyman 3. But, we'll see. What else is going on? What's going on in the world? Let's find out. Not a damn thing. No, it's fine. No, we did have some, we've had a couple of big deaths in the last couple days. Not to start off on a somber note, but let's see. We lost Terry Funk. We lost Bray Wyatt. Both wrestling wrestlers. Bob Barker died today at 99. What's her name? Arlene Sorkin, who voiced Harley Quinn, also passed away today. So it's like, man, sadness. So yeah, rest in peace to all of them. Obviously, I grew up watching Bob Barker on Price is Right, and of course, I can remember, the Harley Quinn voice, and of course those wrestlers. I'm a wrestling guy, so yeah. So very, very sad news to wake up to and stuff. It's like, man, damn. Death is never fun. Never fun to deal with. I'm just gonna shake this thing. It's like an earthquake. Anyway, that was a choice. Special effects. Like I said, I'm all stuffy from all the wonderful wildfire smoke. So yeah. So I watched a couple things since we were last here. I watched No Hard Feelings. I got that on Amazon Prime, because they had it on there. So I just rented it and stuff. It's pretty good. Jennifer Lawrence is in there, of course, and Matthew Broderick plays in there as well. A couple other actors and stuff I've seen in other things. But it's a good comedy. I did laugh a good amount, which is always important if you're doing a comedy. Because if I wasn't laughing at all, then you have failed your comedy. So, yeah, it was fun. And for those of you who are total pervs, you do see Jennifer Lawrence full on naked in that movie. It's like a fight scene on the beach, which is it's funny. It's funny though, but it's like, oh, well, yep, she's naked. So if you ever wanted to see Jennifer Lawrence naked, there you go. But no, the movie is fun. It's good. It's got a lot of comedy. It's got some good heartfelt moments. I think both characters kind of grow throughout the movie in terms of, and they kind of help each other a bit get to where they need to be. So I recommend it if you're looking for a fun, slightly raunchy comedy. So who dare text me at this hour? Wretched beast of hell. Let me see. Right there. Not important at the moment. That text, not important at the moment. I'm very busy. Anyway, so yeah, that was really good. I also watched this movie, Infinity Pool. It's David Cronenberg's son, Brandon Cronenberg, I believe is his name, is a director as well, and he makes very weird movies, much like his father did. And this movie was definitely weird. It had Mia Goth in it, and Alexander Skarsgård, and they were kind of at this vacation. It also had this girl, Cleopatra Coleman, who I just seen in Cobweb, wish she was in this as well. And I was like, hey, yeah, she's pretty good. But yeah, basically he's like a writer, and they're on this kind of like beach vacation type of thing, and he's trying to get inspiration. And they run into Mia Goth and her significant other, and it turns into a whole weird cloning thing, and then they're basically just torturing poor Alexander Skarsgård. I think performances were solid. It was definitely a weird movie. So I mean, it's definitely worth a watch if you just want that kind of weird Cronenberg style. It's decent. Some of the acting's a little over the top at points. I would definitely agree with that. It's Mia Goth is not as good in this as she is. She's still good, but like she's not as good in this as she is in like Pearl or something like that, or even X. But I mean, still solid, still entertaining. So yeah, that was pretty solid. I feel like I watched more, but like I'm just like not remembering what else I watched. Well, of course, I watched the first few episodes of Only Murders in the Building. I watched the first two episodes of Billions. I feel like I watched more, and I'm trying to remember what the hell else I watched. What did you watch, Adam? What did you watch? I had this whole thing earlier this week of like, oh, I watched a whole bunch of stuff, and this podcast will be, at least half an hour, and it's 6 minutes, and I've already talked about the things I've watched. Woo! There's no shows that I finished since Righteous Gemstones, so I'm like, I don't know what to talk about. I haven't seen Asaka yet. I've heard it's pretty good. And I haven't watched the second season of Winning Time yet. So, I've had things going on. We got a sketch show coming up, and so me and Anna were running lines for that today. I still have some time to go on that to run lines and learn them better, but some lines are pretty good. Also, it was cool. I found out that, I have Amazon. I had this Showtime hookup that I had gotten, so I could watch Billions and a couple other things I wanted to watch on Showtime. And they just notified me the other day that, like, as of the 29th, you will now have Paramount Plus because Paramount Plus combined with Showtime. So now I can watch stuff on Paramount Plus, too. That's cool. Through Amazon. So it's a good thing. Amazon Prime is it's a good thing to have because you can watch lots of different things and just get, like, connections to things. It's, like, cool. I mean, I think there's other streaming services that have that, too, where you can watch other streaming services through a deal, but that's how I got it through Amazon Prime. So, because I have Shudder through that, and then the Showtime one, and then I also have Freevee, which is how I've been watching Night Court, which is just it's free TV with some commercials, which commercials get a little annoying, but they're pretty quick. It's not like when I watched the CW and stuff, their little app or whatever. Man, you had felt like 20 minutes of commercials on that damn thing, and it was always the same annoying commercials, where it's just like, oh my god, this stupid commercial again. Although, to be fair, the same things happen with this. There's this one commercial with this AT&T thing where this kid gets in a minivan or something like that, and he's just like, another group project. Oh man, I hope I can get online. This is really hard. And then his parents drive him to some hot spot, and then he pulls his laptop out and starts working. I'm just like, they just took you to a hotspot and you have a laptop. What are you crying about? Go to a library. Just go to a library. It's not hard. I may have talked about that already, but yeah, I've talked about it again here on episode 12. So deal with it, people. Deal with it. Like I said, we're working on sketch stuff. We went and saw friends play last night. That was pretty good. It's called Dancing at Lagnasa, I think is what it calls. But it was I knew a couple actors in it, and then we ran into a couple friends that we've done stuff with, so we sat together, so that was nice. So I wrapped up Soccer class today and Saturday. That wasn't too bad. It was really hot, though. Really hot and smoky, so I wore a mask most of the day, but I'm still just like, I said we did shorts for our other channel, Adam and Anna, so check those out, get those views up. I think we just got another subscriber. We could use some subscribers on this channel too, and this exciting 10-minute podcast that you're watching is clearly, it's going to hook you in. But no, I'll probably do a pitch or something, like a Candyman sequel pitch thing for the series, like following up those. But obviously I would need to watch Candyman 3 before I can do a follow-up to Candyman 3. Although why would you want to follow up Candyman 3? But regardless, and I may need to rewatch 2 as well, because it's been a while since I've seen it. Candyman, I remember exactly how it ends, so that would be easy to do a pitch for that. Well, I just, I do the pitches for the Halloween and Friday, so I'm just trying to pick a horror series that I've seen them all, almost seen them all, and do go from there. Let's see, I ranted about Rachel Zegler last week. So, yeah, I've talked about American Horror Story on here before, but, like, just why? I just, like, I've talked about some of the horrible actors they hire on there sometimes, and it's just like, man, Kim Kardashian really scraping the bottom of the barrel. I'm sorry, I cannot stand any of the Kardashians. I think they're famous for being rich, and that's just annoying. I don't want to see them on my TV. I don't want to see their goddamn faces. Just go away. But Ryan Murphy, it's like he's treating her like she's Lady Gaga. At least Lady Gaga can frickin' act. I liked her on that hotel one. I thought she was pretty good. And I've liked her in some of the movies I've seen her in. Some people might not agree with that, but I think she's pretty good. I'm not saying she's the best actress in the world, but definitely better than Madonna. Whatever you want to think about Madonna as a singer, she's a good singer, but Madonna was never really good in any movies that I can remember her being good in. So I think Lady Gaga is at least, better than her at that. You can compare their music. I like her music pretty well. It's pretty good. I'm pretty eclectic on music choices anyway, so I like mostly almost all genres of music. I mean, there's a few here and there. I'm not big on country, but, like Johnny Cash is good. But like a couple others. But, mostly I'm pretty eclectic. I'm mostly into rock, though. It's probably my biggest. We'll talk about music for a little bit here. Yeah, so yeah, Soundgarden. I was a big Soundgarden fan. I always followed like Chris Cornell through Soundgarden and his solo work, and then with Audioslave, and then back to Soundgarden before his unfortunate passing, which was really depressing. I remember that happened. I was like, man, it was like him and then Chester Bennington within a few weeks of each other. It was just like, fuck, Linkin Park's gone, and everything. It's just like, damn. Sad, man. That's the mental illness is no joke, guys. No joke. I've known people who deal with it. It's definitely nothing, and if you look at a lot of times, like, suicide rates among, like, men is, like, really high compared to women. Not to be, like, a man versus woman thing or something like that, but, like, it is very, yeah, people it gets, you look at Robin Williams, you look at, it's sad. It's sad when people get to that low, that they take their own lives and things like that. It's just never, man, I'm just super positive here today. Aren't you glad you tuned into the podcast? We talked about death earlier. I said a couple shows, and now I'm talking about mental illness. Man, aren't you glad you tuned in? What an exhilarating and hilarious podcast Adam Haig puts out here. His Michael Myers shirt on. Yeah, so anyway. I haven't seen Blue Beetle yet, or Oppenheimer. Those are still on the agenda to see. Maybe next week. Now that soccer's over for a while. Not for a while, but at least a couple weeks. We're getting ready to go on vacation. We're going to go to Leavenworth. We've never been there before, so that should be fun. And like I said, we got a sketch show coming up in November at 18th and Union. We're pretty excited about that. Should be a good show. Yeah, man, I clearly came to this podcast well prepared to talk about some shit. I also thought I was going to talk more about movies and things like that, and it's just kind of like, yep, here I am. But Only Murders in the Building is really good. I watched, like I said, the first 3 episodes, and what I like about that compared to something like that slasher series is that, like, it keeps you guessing who might be the killer, because it doesn't just like make it obvious. It doesn't make you hate the person completely that gets killed like they do, or how American Horror Story is done. But, like, it's entertaining, and like I mean, the last 2 seasons I wasn't even suspecting the killer right away. I kind of like, they were leaning towards this person, but then this person might, but yeah, it's really well written. That's what happens when you have a well written team. You got Steve Martin involved, and Martin Short and stuff. People who actually know how to write things tends to help. You have shitty writing, like American Horror Story and slasher, then you get what you get. But But yeah, American Horror Story. Like I said, I didn't watch the NYC one. I'm not gonna watch Delicate. I don't want to. Yeah, freaking Kim Kardashian. Like Emma Roberts, okay, but like, Kim Kardashian. Ugh. But like, yeah. But the problem with American Horror Story, it's really lost its whole like luster. Like those first couple seasons were pretty solid, and then it just got progressively worse. And I'm sitting there reading this article the other day about like, yeah, that double feature, man, it was critically acclaimed. I'm like, why? Why was it critically acclaimed? It was terrible. I mean, your entire season was about like I said, I go from one thought to another, guys, so just bear with me. But like, your entire season, half season, was about basically a bunch of pretentious people taking a pill and becoming vampires, and if they were talented, they would become, just really motivated and just have to feed it once in a while, but like they would be really excellent at their talent and be like top of their game. But if they weren't truly talented, they would turn into Nosferatu vampires. What the fuck? That's just like pretentious shit. Like, that just feels like pretentious shit that someone like Ryan Murphy would write. And, I know Riley said Ryan Murphy has a lot of praise for giving LGBTQ plus people a spotlight, and that's great. I have no problem with that. That's good and dandy. There's some talented people. But man, he also, I think, has gotten up his own ass somewhat in terms of his talents too. And it's not that he's not talented, but it just feels kind of like, yeah, well, whatever. I don't have to try anymore. These idiots will watch. He's like, well, no, we won't. Maybe hate watch, but yeah. And then just some of the actors, and like I said, I've mentioned before, just like this one scene in that double feature, it's a gay couple and they're talking about, man, and then like we ate ass, and then I got like, it broke out of my mouth, and I'm like, who fucking writes dialogue like that? Like, I know plenty of gay guys, and like, and whether they do that or not, they're not sitting there telling me about how they broke out. I mean, what the fuck? No one wants to hear that shit. No one wants to hear that shit. Who's writing this shit? Probably a straight person. It's like nobody wants to hear dialogue like that. It's like listen to Rob Zombie's dialogue movies. It's like, let's call everybody the C word. It's like nobody. I mean, there are people that talk like that, but like most people don't talk like that. It's like most people, you might hear them curse here and there, but like they're not like, it's not like every 5 minutes. It's just, I don't know. I just can't stand bad dialogue. Like I don't mind if you're deliberately making it cheesy, like your B movie quality, or your, like a Sharknado thing or something like that, or like if it's like a superhero thing or something, like, where you're being tongue in cheek with it. Okay, then I don't mind like goofy dialogue there. But like when you're supposed to be trying to take it seriously, but this is supposed to be a horror thing or a drama, it's just like, please write better dialogue, because it sounds fucking terrible. So yeah, writing is not an easy thing to do. Trust me, there's times I'm sitting there writing and I can write something really good, and then sometimes it's just like, well, that made no sense. Or I start something and you're like, that's crap, get this out of here. Excuse me. Had a blizzard, so I'm digesting that. So we've seen me belch and all that good. This is what a podcast I have put together here today. That's my water bottle back there. Exciting. There's lots of books here too. Read books, guys. Maybe I should do a book review sometime. Books I've read. I had the Phil Hartman book somewhere in there. It's really good. It's sad to read it though, because how everything turned out for him, thanks to his stupid wife. Yeah, I remember I saw this documentary once, and I may have talked about this before, but like, whatever. You're here. But like, there's some woman that had done theater with her or something like that. And she's like, I just don't think people should call her a monster. I'm just like, she murdered her husband while he was sleeping. While he was turned around sleeping, like he was laying on his stomach. While the kids were in the house. But no, she's not a monster. It's like, well, yeah, okay, maybe she got involved in drugs and all that, but I'm sorry. Drugs are not, if you have the intent to kill, you're not, just because if I chug this entire thing, it doesn't just suddenly make me a killer. You have to have that intent. There has to be an intent to do that. It can't just be like, well, I was on some drugs. I didn't know what. I mean, yeah, no drug can affect your mind, obviously, but there was already resentment there. There was already resentment because she didn't want to just be Phil Hartman. It's Phil Hartman's wife. She wanted to be a bit, and that's fine. I understand, like, not wanting to just be known as, well, I'm the wife or I'm the husband, but, like, at the same time, taking it that far when you have kids, it always disgusted me because it's like, because he was so talented and just like, at least to me, it seemed like a good guy, and it's kind of interesting what if of like where his career would have gone after that. Like I kind of wonder if he would have gotten more into like drama stuff, and that's what Bryan Cranston did, like Bill Hader's done that with Barry and stuff like that. So it's like, it would have been interesting to see what Phil Hartman would have been able to do as a follow-up on his career, because he was very talented. A big influence on me as a comedian and things like that. So he also, and I remember if I mentioned that Pee Wee Herman had passed away, Paul Rubens. That's another big death recently. So that was a couple weeks ago, I think. But like, yeah, that was sad. I remember growing up watching Pee Wee's Playhouse and stuff. It was interesting because I'd seen it as a kid, and then I would see like the more adult version that they did on Broadway, which Phil Hartman had a hand in writing. The Tim Burton connection there for the Pee Wee's Big Adventure. It's like, yeah, I mean, it's a sad loss, no doubt. Good old Pee Wee Herman. Also, like, I joked when he passed. I'm like, I hope that before he passed, he went out the epic way he was in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Because yeah, that was a great death scene. Yes. If you haven't ever seen the original Buffy the Vampire Slayer, it's before the show came out. It's pretty good. It's got a lot of name talent in there. You got Christy Swanson, you have Rutger Hauer, Donald Sutherland, Luke Perry, David Arquette, Ben Affleck for a very brief scene, Hilary Swank. There's like a lot of people in that movie. It's like crazy. Yeah. And Paul Rubens, of course, in it. So check that shit out, baby. Yeah. Like I said, I've been watching Night Court. I just started season 7. So it's like 2 more seasons. It's interesting because interesting thing about Night Court, I'd like to do like a full thing over at some point, maybe this is a separate non-podcast thing, but going over Night Court and things like that. But like, it's interesting how like season 8 and season 9 happened because the network had told them that they were done, like we're canceling and all that. So those writers got together and they, made season 8 season finale like that was it. That was the series finale. We're done. This is how it's going to end. And then right before, like, I think we premiered or something like that, they're like, oh, well, we renewed you for another season. It's just like, what the? So that's why season 9 maybe felt a little jumbled or felt like almost every is. And I'm interested to go and watch season 8 and season 9 and see kind of how, like, jumbled it feels. Because I just remember watching it, when I was a kid and all that, and, I wouldn't have known any better. And it's like, oh, they didn't decide not to go that route. Okay. But, like, yeah, it's interesting how, like, that was how networks would jack people around. It's just like, oh no, you guys are canceled. Well, maybe you're not. But we literally just wrapped everything up, dude. There's like nowhere to go from here. Why now we have to completely yeah. So that's just interesting how that happened. Of course, they went through a lot of casting changes from the beginning, like finding the right fit, and then they had 2 bailiffs in a row die in real life, and it was just apparently Harry Anderson and Richard Mole didn't get along that well. So, which is you wouldn't never known, from the performances and stuff. I thought they had good chemistry together, but who knows? I mentioned the Spider-Man mug last week. There it is. Yes, Spidey mug. That's my big whiskey thing here. Just a little bit of whiskey left. So yeah, aren't you glad you spent your evening with Adam Haig? Telling you all about the facts. It's good to take your vitamins, too. This is a 1-a-day vitamin I take every morning for brain support. And it's a probiotic. Keep yourself healthy. There you go. Melatonin, if you just need to sleep a little bit. I take that more for naps than, like, full-on sleeping. Because I tend to, like, wake up out of a nap. And it's like, oh, I'm awake. Like, I just need a couple hours or something. Like I do on Tuesdays. I'll get up for soccer. I'm going to take it up right now. And I dozed off. All right. Oh, it's 30 minutes. All right, guys. Well, I think that's pretty much all I got to talk about today. I know, I'm sorry, this is the most exciting and non-rant version of of this. But yes, rest in peace to all those who have recently passed, because that's unfortunate, and my heart goes out to all their families and stuff. And hope that they are at peace and stuff. And yeah, you guys keep on keeping on, and like and subscribe, guys. And like I said, I'll see if I can come up with a pitch or something. I'll post something for Candyman. Do a pitch. Think about that a little bit. And yeah. So that's the podcast for today. Only 25 minutes. Because I'm tired and like stuffy. So I just maybe that's why I didn't do it yesterday too. I was kind of feeling the same way. It's just like, it's just the smokiness out there. It's just like, yay, I'm outside and I'm breathing this crap. Yay. You know? It's amazing how many people weren't like I was wearing a mask, at least on the soccer field. Man, there's so many people like not even wearing anything. It's like, and I'm not saying that mask does too much to protect you from the air, but it can't hurt, you know. But even with that, I'm just like, so. Anyway, guys, you have a good night, and like I said, like and subscribe. This has been Adam's rambling, droning on podcast for today, episode 12. Have a good night.